Hey guys, it's Dr. Mike, and I want to share with you today something that blew me away. So as many of you know, I broke my hip about 90 days ago. And so for the last 90 days, I've been using 2 crutches, and today I got to switch to 1 crutch. So here's what's important about that is when I was standing up, so the reason, by the way, that I'm using 2 crutches was to keep the weight off this hip just to allow it to heal. So I could do basically non-weight bearing movement. So even if I was standing up, I had to put my weight over on this leg. So here's the important part. Now that I can switch to 1 crutch and I can put weight back on this leg, I can use equal weight on both feet. I've caught myself today over and over and over doing this. I keep leaning to this side because it's a habit that I've been doing that for the past 90 days. Now, I'm 42 years old. I know what you're thinking, man, that guy doesn't look like he's a day over 30. But really, I'm 42 years old. So what that means is for roughly 40 years, however long I started standing on my own 2 feet, 40 years I used equal weight on both legs. And it's only been the past 90 days that I've been putting weight on this leg. So what does that mean? It took only 90 days to break a habit that's been going on for 40 years. So now the good news and the bad news about that is that you can develop very bad habits very quickly, but you can also break bad habits and develop good habits in a very short amount of time. I mean, 90 days in relationship to 40 years, 90 days is a pretty small amount of time. So I think here's what the parameters were. Is for myself, I broke this hip. I love to exercise, I love to be in shape, I love to wrestle with my kids and be very physically active. So it's a very big deal to me to not be able to use my body the way I want to. So I'm willing to sacrifice 90 days of being perfect on my crutches, not bearing weight on that leg, so that I can have long-term healing and get back to my normal lifestyles and recover 100%. I was surprised to tell me, my surgeon told me that only about 10% of his people follow his directions. About 90% don't follow through on their directions. But to me, there was so much more pain associated with not following those instructions that I stuck with them. So when you're trying to develop new habits, you've got to make sure that you have a reward and then the pain that goes along with not following that as well. And you've got to make that very, very strict. So to me, I wasn't going to cheat at all because I knew it was such a big ramification to not following that. So you've got to figure out what that is for you. But I think that's so powerful to know that we can break these habits in a relatively short amount of time. Now, it might not be 90 days for you. Maybe it's 6 weeks. But you want to set up very hard and fast rules. And you want to be, I'll say, perfect about that for that period of time, because once you do that, it's going to break that habit and break the bad habit or set a new habit very, very quickly. So try that out. And if you have questions on that, message me or comment here. And I'll be love to share some more tips on that as well.